Hello, and welcome to a special retro edition of the Snackdown, sponsored by Walker's Crisps, which is why we call it the Snackdown, as in snack, not smack. Do you see? Yes, we've a retro theme for today, which is why this month's podcast... You are allowed to sort of laugh, guests. Don't hold it in. I mean, you don't have to, but... anyway, we've a retro theme for today, which is why this month's podcast is only available in black and white. And if you want the Vodcast version, please send us a stamped addressed envelope, and we'll send it back to you in video cassette form. Yes, stamped addressed envelope. That was a thing, kids. That really was. Like video as well, which by now, despite all the stuff that happened with the radio star, surely should have been released on parole. Yes, even the jokes are retro, kids. It was a song. Never mind. Let's move on. I'm stupidly excited today because of my lineup, the guests that have joined me. And first of all, joining me is a woman with a mind so sharp you could carve your Sunday roast with it. And that's making me quite hungry now, actually. It's wit, talk show host and presenter extraordinaire, Vanessa Feltz.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, I'm glad to be on the retro show. That's nice.
Yeah, nothing personal
no,
there.
I'm not taking it, but I'm a bit upset, but I'm pretending I'm not. I'm covering it up.
We didn't go retro. No, we got some young people as well. But,
thanks a lot.
What's it like being a guest? Because you're used to being a host. Does that take the pressure off you?
I think it's fabulous. You get to worry, and I don't have to worry.
Yeah, I'm definitely worried now. Great. So great to have you, Vanessa. Thank you. I'm also joined by one of the country's finest young comedy actors, I don't know, it's a minefield, and stand-ups. One of the stars of the brilliant Peep Show, Izzy Suttie. Hello, Izzy.
Hello.
And sorry to introduce you as one of the stars of the Peep Show because you've done so much else, you're very versatile, etc. But I guess that happens, doesn't it?
Yes, but I just want to make clear that in case there's anyone watching who doesn't know what Peep Show is, it isn't a Peep show. Which is
yes.
When I got the part, my parents were a bit like,
Right.
And I had to explain it.
Okay.
The way in which it's shot.
Well, they were...
Thank you for describing me as young as well.
Yeah, is that
very
all right?
Young. Very, very all right, yes.
But, you know, it's all relative, isn't it, as well?
Yes.
That came out wrong. So you are young. And finally, making a triumphant return to the podcast. Well, let's see if it's triumphant. No pressure there, right. Adam. After a triumphant run in Edinburgh, we're very proud of him. It's a man who I still can't believe once decided to learn pi to 50 decimal places because he was bored.
150.
150 decimal places.
Yeah, and it wasn't really because of boredom. I thought I need something
to make you interesting.
Yeah. Then I forgot my PIN number. I couldn't get home.
Right. So how was Edinburgh, Adam? I mean, I saw that one of your jokes was the top 10, one of the top 10 jokes. Is that right?
Yeah.
You don't seem very proud of that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know who chose that list, but I didn't find it that funny. My joke.
Which was the joke?
Surely every car's a people carrier.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
I like that.
That is good.
Yeah.
But it's a bit
weird
seriously
funny.
Pardon?
It's quite serious and funny.
It's a clever joke.
It's a bit
weird to be included because it is like it's not a set.
It's
true
really
and funny.
Yeah.
It's a damn good joke.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you should be proud of it.
What's wrong with it? Don't be ashamed of it.
I think it's just I've said it so many thousands of times now. To me, I've forgotten what cars are, people are. It means nothing to me now. It's just.
And once it was published as one of the top 10 jokes, and you said, did you still say it in your set, or did that kill it?
Yeah, and then I would say it with a knowing wink, knowing that some people in the audience knew that it was now my my raison d'etre, and some people would groan or cheer, and then I just thought, I hate these collection of words now.
Right.
Really, my parents phoned me up to congratulate me on it being that awarded.
So
that.
that's good.
It's like they never congratulate me on anything else.
They've never congratulated you on anything before.
And really it was the thing that they seem to be most proud of in my life.
My mum was always very honest with me. Like, I was in The Sound of Music when I was about 12, and she said, "You were adequate."
Oh my God!
She knew I wanted to be an actress, but then I know when she says it's good,
Something
that she
Captain
means
Von Trapp
it.
would say to a child as well. It's like something in fitting with the tone of the film.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. Well, we're all really, really funny people, clearly. It does make me think that it'd be quite good to do posters for your show, but only reviews from relatives on it, and just to see.
Oh, dear Lord.
So and a lot's been happening since our last podcast or vodcast. If you're watching on YouTube, the summer came to an end, and what a lovely 2 days it was. Yes, it's all changed since I was young, and the summer days seem to stretch endlessly with sunshine every day. That said, I was brought up in the Mojave Desert, but it's hard to believe. I got a bit nervous there because I wasn't sure whether that's how you pronounce it.
It sounded good to me.
Yeah, exactly. It's got away with it. But it's hard to believe the clocks will soon be going back. Yes, we've only about a month till the time when our oven clocks and in our cars is right again. The end of the summer also means the end of the summer also meant the end of the school holidays with the air full of horror, screaming and tantrums, and that's just the teachers. I thank you all. Out of sympathy for the back-to-schoolers, I'm wearing my brand new lace-ups, a blazer 2 sizes too big, and my older brother's trousers. I'm also slightly nervous that Vanessa will take away my lunch money. We also had National Dog Day. For me, the best bit about the day is National Dog Day afternoon, where I spend 2 hours watching my favourite heist movie. And thank you. And finally, there was a happy story this month about a toucan in Brazil who lost his beak and was given a 3D printed replacement. Did you see anyone read about that? Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, that's so cute.
It is cute, isn't it? When asked to pay for it, he said, "Put it on my bill." Not quite so cute now, eh? But now it's time to see what we found on theinternet.com in Inside the Packet. I do it in a slightly voice-over-y voice, so it's that's all right, Vanessa. Yeah.
Great.
Keeping up.
I love it.
And there was an interesting article about how men with wider faces tend to be more successful. Is it something that you've noticed? I mean,
my other half always says that successful actors and actresses have big faces, that you can tell who the star is because they've just got a big old face and it just takes up more of the screen and soaks up more celluloid and you can just tell. Well, who do we know that's very successful with a really big face? I'm trying to think whether that
hello.
Oh well, huge looking face you've got there.
Yeah. No, I've got a big face. It's a long face. Tilt to be successful.
Famous.
Yeah.
Successful.
Is it only men who, if women have wide faces, they're unsuccessful?
Yeah, it seems to be men. Yeah, I don't know what the square jaw, whether that applies.
You should get a face extension then, if you want. If before a job interview, just build some extra face there, and then make sure you always head on with them.
Maybe that's what hamsters are doing all the time.
Yeah,
they think, I've got a job interview. I've got to be successful. I know that there's a thing where people say that everyone judges someone else in the first 3 seconds of when they meet them, and then it's really hard to change that judgment, which is why I say nothing for 3 seconds whenever I meet. Absolutely silent and
give money to everyone as you walk
nothing
in.
At all.
But don't you think those people who get the best break in life are those guys who lose their hair and have a fabulous head? You know, the skull is good.
Yeah.
So some people have a marvellous head for no hair, and some people have a shocker of a head. And then some people can, lumpy and funny looking and discoloured, and what can you do?
Yeah.
Nothing you can do, is there? So wear a hat, of course.
Apparently the thing that leads to success isn't necessarily like an absolute level of intelligence. It's the intelligence level you had relative to your peers. So apparently if you get into Harvard, this is this book that I read, if you get into Harvard, you better not go into Harvard. Go to the other lower one you got into, because the thing that defines success is like how well you did relative to your peers in your uni or whatever. So if you are the cleverest one at a polytechnic, you'll do better than if you were just average at Harvard, apparently.
Because you become more confident.
Yeah, so everything is a confidence thing.
Thanks for mentioning, very retro to mention Polytechnic. Which
I know.
I know for a while.
Yeah, the Massachusetts Polytechnic.
Yeah.
But apparently it's so it is a confidence thing, I think.
But also, what is success? It isn't necessarily wealth alone, is it?
What?
Guys.
What is it? Yeah. I need to know.
I was attempting to point that out. It's not just the money, is it?
No,
There's all
I
the
think
other stuff.
it's how late you're allowed to get up in the morning.
And you're
that's
excuse
a
me,
good
you're talking to someone. I have to be at work
Oh,
every
I'm
day.
so sorry.
4:30 a.m. I've done that for nearly 5 years.
Well,
So then I'm not at any kind
You're
of
almost
success.
going. You could say you're going to bed late, or you're getting up late the previous
Yeah.
day.
You really can't.
That's-
No, you really. I wish you could, but you just can't. You cannot say that. No.
Yeah, having worked with some real Hollywood legends, like some big A-listers, which I've done. I've done very small parts in films with very big A-listers, and there is something about their charisma, their sheer charisma, because there's this thing, I won't name names, but where there's one actor that I've worked with, you're not allowed to look at them.
And is that true? Are you really not?
Yeah.
me
with
too.
I
one-
thought that was just a rumour.
No, there's one actor that I work with that on
This is
on
like
set.
saying the Shakespeare play. Like, we all know who it is.
Yeah, well, no, it's not the person who everyone
really?
It's not?
who I work with, who everyone thinks it is. No, it's someone else. I won't say who. But a person was sacked from the crew for looking at him on that day.
what was the actual rule? Sorry, what was no one? Even if you're in a scene with him.
No, if you're in a scene, that's allowed, but you can't stare at him when you're on set. So that sounds terrible. But to defend them, you just look at them the whole time.
You really want to stare
You
at them.
just stare at them the whole time. So, that I mean, I'm
And
not...
why? Because they're so gorgeous looking, or because they're so compelling?
I
Or
think
what is
it's
it?
partially that thing of they're gorgeous looking, but it's also that, it's that person off the telly, off the cinema. I don't know. And I just wonder whether it's also charisma.
But I'd like to put a different side of this, because I used to be aboard the Big Breakfast bed for a couple of years.
Yes,
in
you've met some
in the
huge
glory
people.
days of the Big Breakfast. So I'd be on the bed with some really big, massive Hollywood stars, just as you've worked with them. I'd be on the bed with them for just a few minutes and everything. And I was amazed by how nervous lots of them were, and how extremely human and vulnerable and full of frailties they were. But there were also lots who, after a sort of 8-minute interview on the bed on the Big Breakfast, God knows what time in the morning, would say, "Was I okay? Was I all right?" And you think, blimey,
You're
you're asking me if you're all right. You've just starred in this huge blockbuster. Everyone loves you. You've been married 8 times. You're worth, 20 billion quid. What do you really want to know? Whether I think you were all right, but they did want to know.
Yeah.
So I did think, do they have this huge confidence and everything else, or are they really just like everybody else?
yeah.
Nervous,
and under
worried?
massive pressure.
Well, one sign of success, apparently, is at the moment the man bun. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with the man
Definitely
bun.
am.
Definitely
Yes,
am.
yeah.
Sounds like you're a big fan. So it's
Huge fan.
a turn of hair. What would we say? A twist
It's a
of hair.
magnificent thing. It's kind of like a curlicue of hair. Possibly
round of applause
secured.
for curlicue.
Thank you
That's
very
certainly
much.
a first
Thank
on
you.
this podcast.
And possibly secured with a hair grip or two, or maybe a pencil, a casual pencil, or a chopstick, something like that, just securing the circumference of it. And I think it's a wonderful thing. But there's so much potential.
So
in that
you quite
it's like a coiled spring.
So
of hair.
like the cliched librarian, why Miss Jones? I didn't
Exactly
realise.
like they call me a cliched person. I am.
But
I
with
can't
a
help
bloke,
it.
a
With a
bloke
bloke,
going,
it's a fabulous,
Why Mr.
fabulous
Hipster?
thing. Exactly.
I mean, what's the worst hairdo you've had? Or you always have
I always have a non-hairdo.
just
Just hangs out like
just-
that. Just
yeah,
hangs
yeah.
down. I haven't really ever succumbed to the whole hairdo thing.
fashion disasters? Have you had terrible fashion
I
disasters?
think my whole life has been a just hot and cold running fashion disaster.
I asked everyone here to bring in and send us some pictures of your fashion faux pas.
I'm
Keen
just
to
not
see.
very technology savvy. I don't have a scanner or anything. That's mine.
Right. How would you describe that?
Ooh.
That
Well, first of all, I've got a fur coat.
we're all being sort of polite, aren't we?
What
So-
is that exactly?
I've got a fur coat tied around my waist.
Oh.
We went to a nightclub that I think we didn't have any money to use the cloakroom. Well, I was about, 18 or 19. So I just tied the fur
Right.
coat around my waist. I'm also wearing a camouflage body. Do you remember
Yeah, bodies. They were very useful
They're
in a
like baby
way.
grows, weren't they? Yeah.
They stopped your shirt riding up, so they poppered under your parts.
Okay.
You poppered them and then they stayed down, so they were tucked into your skirt. They would never ride up. But then if you wanted to, pay a call of nature, you're in real trouble.
Well,
really.
well, what would you
had
do?
to
You'd have
unpop
to-
them, and the whole thing was a right nightmare. You're reaching round to find the popper under your thing and asking a total stranger, "Sorry, excuse me, no, I don't know. Could you just pop my thingy together?" And it was all quite awkward, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's funny that you had to put it around your waist. I used to I went through a phase of putting my jacket around my waist in nightclubs, and then I realised that in the toilet there was the ceilings had raisable panels, so I would just go into the toilet and hide my jacket in the ceiling.
Wow.
And if I was wearing
That's
just
so
a very
clever.
light jacket, I would. It'd be great. Great
There's a
fun.
whole show in going
Yes.
around to nightclubs and looking in those panels and collecting
Seeing
everything.
what
Well,
it
it's
is.
all sorts of clothes, yeah.
That's because part
wow.
of I hated going to nightclubs because it was all about where's my stuff. I love dancing, but it was all about.
Well, it's worse
where's
if you've
my
got
stuff?
bags.
When
now.
I was going into clubs, I'd have my Filofax with me. Hey, clubbing. No, so it's one thing to dance with your handbag, but to dance with your Filofax. Because that had everything. That was like the equivalent of a phone, wasn't it? You had your whole life in a Filofax.
But is that something
Yeah.
to
So
do
I
with your
would dance.
cultural background? Because I know that if I ever came back from Saturday night out, my parents would always say, not did you have a good time or did you cop off with anyone? Or anything, what have you achieved? I was like, what was I meant to achieve? What was I doing? I was just dancing to Donna Summer. What do you mean? But what have you achieved? Like, are you
Yeah,
married
yeah.
yet? Are you married yet?
Yeah.
Wow.
No.
Yeah.
Are you engaged? No.
Yeah.
No, I'm not
So
engaged.
what's the point?
Yeah. Have you made any
It's
sort
been
of
a bit-
business alliances? No. What have you achieved? Is that why you took your Filofax in case your parents said the same thing? It
was
must be.
certainly if I met someone,
Yeah,
then
you
I could put
Filofax
their.
them.
I mean,
Oh my
nothing
goodness,
is more
awful.
romantic
Yeah.
than writing, giving a whole new entry for that's steady for a lady in your Filofax.
I'll pencil you in.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what about in those days when people used to say, well, you're too young to remember it, but people used to say if a man really fancied you, and presumably, I don't know if it happened with the other way around, but if a man really fancied you, he would remember your phone number.
Oh,
Yes.
no.
What about
I
that? You
remember
would
my
just tell
first
him
girlfriend's phone
one.
number.
Do you?
Yeah,
Oh.
remember because I had to phone it from. I wasn't allowed a mobile phone.
Yeah.
So I had to phone it from payphones.
Yeah.
And I remember I could still say it now.
There's that thing, the other extension, which obviously you don't have with mobile
Yeah.
phones,
Yeah.
where your parents would pick up
Yeah.
the phone and hear you going, "Oh, I love you, I love you." What? Get off the phone.
Then get off the phone.
Yeah,
That's all my father ever said to me. If you just get off the phone.
But they would pick it up and
Get
go,
off the phone. And I
then-
say, Dad, okay, I'm just going to say goodbye. I'm going to say, no, get off the phone now. But Dad, and also you had to wait till 6 o'clock to make any flipping phone calls in the first
Yes,
place.
yes.
6
Oh,
o'clock.
yeah!
Remember that? Because it
I
got
remember
cheaper at
that.
6 o'clock. I don't know
Oh.
why. And then get off the phone, get off the phone, get off the phone.
We didn't have an extension. We just had the one phone, and so no one could listen. My sister once went through my mum's address book and rang everyone in it and said she was from a radio station in Derby, and they'd won a TV and a fridge, and they had to wait in all day to see. They mustn't go out, and it might even come as late as midnight. And then my mum found out and went mad. But if we'd had the extension, my mum would have been able to.
What bizarre
Why did she do
evil
that?
prank.
She really loved systems, and she really liked doing things thoroughly. So she said, "This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to ring everyone, and I won't stop until I've done it."
How many telephone numbers can you remember now?
I know hundreds from when I was a kid.
From
But I
when
don't
we-
know
yeah,
any now.
no.
I don't even know my own children's phone numbers by heart now.
No,
but I know.
no.
But I remember my late grandparents' numbers and almost everyone I ever went out with and everyone at school.
Yeah.
I remember people's phone numbers from when there was different dialing tone codes, like
Yeah.
0181 and all. Yeah, yeah.
That's nothing.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Excuse
right.
me.
01,
Excuse me.
I remember
Excuse me.
01.
That's nothing. Do you remember?
I know what you're going to
You know,
say.
he knows what I'm going to say. When it was letters, not numbers.
Yeah.
That is disgusting.
Letters. So, for example, our number was 134, but before it was that, it was Hillside
Yeah.
1134. HIL 1134.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
My grandparents
Mount
lived in
View.
Willesden in North London. WIL 6829.
So
Will.
now about half of those codes. So with Matlock, the
Yeah.
code is 01629, and on the keypad 6 is M and 2 is
There you
A.
are.
Aha.
But some of them it doesn't work for. Maybe
Yeah.
they're codes that are
New
coming
regions
after
or something.
that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I love
What was
that
yours?
fact that
What did you
they
say yours
spell
was?
Mount View.
Mount View.
Which is Crouch End. It was part of Crouch End.
Yeah.
that. So you mean instead of 0171?
You died.
Oh,
There's
but this
no
is
0171.
way.
This is long before
I
any
mean,
of that
this is
anything.
01,
The
but
number.
only. Yeah.
The number was just the number. My grandma's number 0398. That's the number. No 01s, no
So-
171s, no 0208s, none of that.
But if
But
yeah.
it had an STA for Stanmore. STA.
Yeah.
And then
the number.
Yeah.
So it's the STA element.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
now
yeah.
So
They all had
ours was
names. They're rather
348, which
poetic
was
names.
much better.
Mount MOU.
Yes.
So
I
that sounds
worry
wrong,
that if
but
I was to
anyway.
go to jail and you get one phone call, the only number I really remember is like 999. That's pointless. Or someone who's moved to New Zealand. That's my
Right.
old neighbour. So I don't know who
what you're
lives
going
there
to do?
now.
Yeah. I do feel sorry for sometimes because there's been this sort of in London anyway. It's gone from 01 to then it was 071 and 81 and then it was 017.
Yes.
And sometimes you see like vans
Yeah.
or shop fronts
Key cutter shops.
where it
It's
still
just key
says,
cutter shops are still 01.
Yeah,
and,
or
and
0171.
cobblers.
You just think business isn't going well because you can't afford to change it. Great, thank you. That's what I always say that. That's my link. So
Very grateful.
also this month, Freshers Week is upon us as all over the country students head up the motorway in cars loaded with duvets, pot plants, saucepans, and their parents' lost dreams of money for their retirement. #autobiographical. Do you remember Freshers Week? I just thought we could do a little bit of advice for those fresh.
Anyone you're friendly with in the first few days, you never ever are friendly with for the rest of
Yes.
the
Yeah,
day.
yeah, it's almost like a rule that the people you first meet, you
You're
should
gonna
just say to
hate.
them, we know that we're not going to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't have really any friends for the first. My only friend at my first year of university was a guy that used to bring his books to lectures in a guitar case. So I remember thinking, how could I have made more friends? I had this idea that if you want to make friends on Freshers Week on the first day, wear a shirt that on the back says like "Here to help." So people think, oh, I'll go talk to that guy. And then they ask me a question, I'll just change the subject. Hey, so what music are you into? Or something like that. And then they go, oh, Adam's a cool guy.
Right, well, good luck, all you freshers. And a message from our sponsor now. Well, Walkers have brought back the nation's favourite old flavours for a limited time. They've asked the public to vote to bring back just one flavour. You can vote online on the Walkers website or on the Walkers app. Well, that's all from the Snackdown for this month. I'd like to thank Vanessa Feltz, Izzy Suttie and Adam Hess, and also Amanda Wilkie, Andrea Mann, Lucy Freeman and Andy Prendergast for their assists. We'll do a nice retro goodbye with Close Down and the national anthem. Now, drum roll, please, be upstanding. Never mind. Goodbye!